So between that last getting back together and now, how have things been and how's your relationship developed?
I think we got stronger and stronger. There were things that we've done to make the relationship stronger, and we had to choose that because we knew with our past, the two issues we've had breaking up and getting back together, we needed something that would help us create a foundation of strength. And so that's when we decided we needed to get mentors to help speak into our life and just kind of coach us. I mean, the word mentor, I think, is kind of scary to some people because they think, oh, you have to go to someone's house and have this Bible study and open up your Bible and everything has to be so holy. But really what it is, it's a couple that's been married for years and years. They have a strong foundation in their marriage, and they just talk to you. They help guide you of what do you do in this situation. So they're kind of like coaches. And so for us, we just really wanted that because we wanted a godly marriage, and we didn't want to make these mistakes that we had made in the past. So that was one thing that we did.
And we probably got more than we asked for.
We probably did.
They're phenomenal people, Chris and Cindy Beal. Majority of the time, we'll go meet at their house, and they are beyond real. You'd think you're meeting with your pastor and the pastor's wife. You picture what that looks like, on a regular, traditional basis, but it's like we go over in our sweats, they're just kind of hanging out, and they will literally talk about everything.
They're very open with us.
Yes,
about everything.
stuff that we're not even going to say right now. But it's fun. Like I said, it's real, and that's what we want our marriage to be. It's like they could sit here and, give us all this fairy tale. I mean, it's all, don't get me wrong, their advice is all godly and biblical. But they also understand what the real struggles are.
Yeah.
And so we
It
talk
allows
about all
room
of
for it to be human.
That's good. How long have you met with Chris and Cindy?
Our first time.
I think
Gosh,
we've met
we're
with them
really
about
bad about these dates
6
and
or
everything.
7 times.
Okay.
Yeah, and it was probably back in August, September.
Yeah, September.
Okay.
Somewhere around in there.
So over the last 6, 7 months, something like
Yeah.
that.
Mhm.
Say
That's
about
good.
7 months.
That's really good.
Yeah.
Other things that you feel like that you guys have done during the dating part of your relationship that have really helped you move forward?
I even think for me, a big thing is kind of back on touching what Matt was saying earlier, things to prevent, because Satan can always use any area of your life to keep causing you to stumble. So for me, I even know there was a night, even recently, where I've realized a weakness in my life, and everyone has a certain weakness, is to drink too much. And so my actions again can come out in a negative way towards him. And so for me, I've kind of grown with the Lord even the last few weeks of knowing I need to be responsible in my own body and realize if I'm prone to weakness in some area that's going to cause me to stumble in a relationship with Matt, then I have to cut that out. And so for me, I'm actually learning you sacrifice certain things to make a marriage work and to make him happy, but most importantly, make God happy. And I think that's what I'm learning right now is
That's good.
sacrificing things you think that you want over what's best
That's
for
good.
marriage.
That's really good. Any other obstacles that you feel like you guys have had to tackle or have had to overcome?
Some things obviously not as major as the ones we talked about. We have, there are a lot of things we like to do together. We're gonna love we're gonna love outdoor stuff. Being active. We both love going to Thunder games. And I'll go to a concert or something that I may not be excited about. So we've definitely ran into conflicting interests, but we've found areas that we are very much the same and where we do click. But going back to the places where we are not on the same page, one thing we started getting into, I guess this would kind of go more so for the, engaged period, but looking for a house, we actually cut that off, during our engagement, put it off till after the wedding because we'll eventually come to an agreement on, what we want to spend on a house, and everything. But it was every time we bring it up, it wouldn't be like a fight, but it almost like get irritable with all the wedding planning stuff going on. So all of our emotional energy that we had was going towards wedding planning and now the house, trying to find a house and agree
Yeah.
there.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's a really good point because I think a lot of times we try to do too much.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's kind of what you guys decided. Let's just table this for a while.
I think so. Especially during the engagement period, you realize don't add fuel to the fire. And the fire is usually getting all the plans worked out. If you do the traditional wedding, there's so many plans that come with it. So we've learned it's important to not throw on extra onto a time where you're really building the foundation of a marriage. It really is not about the wedding. That's one day. But if you really try to focus on the actual marriage, things are a lot better. And so we had to kind of cut that out. And we've learned that's made us a lot happier and less stressed. And
That's
we
good.
work better as a team.
That's good.
Another thing also is, like I mentioned it earlier, the way she receives love. It's not necessarily the way I give it. Like any woman, she needs to be romanced. Not once, she needs to be romanced. And like I say that, and she laughs, but it's true because whenever I'm not, or maybe I do some things that I feel like show that, but it's not how she receives it. So I have, it's not natural to me to do certain things, but I know how she receives that now. She likes to go out to a nice dinner and have a glass of wine occasionally, and so we'll do that. And little things, leaving notes here and there for, just cheesy little stuff guys don't want to admit that they do.
Right.
I've attempted to do that on more regular occasion. Because, like in the summer, I'll go over and mow her lawn for her. And she appreciates that, but at the same time, I'm like, whenever if I feel like she's not, she says that, it's been a while, I need to receive love or this way or however that conversation goes. But I'm like, gosh, does she not look at some of the other things that I do? And she recognizes them, but I've had to figure out how she receives that love and make it a point to do those things.
Yeah, that's really
Especially
good.
where we've been, because I don't want her to doubt.
That's good because that's a great point because sometimes we think we're doing things that are really showing love, but if they don't really receive it as love, they'll appreciate it, but it doesn't really do the same.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it took me a little while. I'm sure it takes a while and she's probably like, I wonder why. I told you, I don't know why it took so long. But it does. It takes a while to get in the habit because I've told her before. I was like, it's not like a guy gets lazy. It's just that I don't know why we're wired that way, but we'll easily forget that it's been a while since we've done, something like that. And so,
That's good.
yeah.
Very good. What about, let's talk for just a second about family of origin and how that has affected you. How have you seen that affect you so far in your relationship?
We're both really close with our families, and our families get along really well also. Our backgrounds are a little different. I was in kindergarten, I believe it was kindergarten, where my parents were divorced. And I don't have it I don't have it bad at all. Never did. It was I was very blessed for the situation. My parents, didn't fight over my sister and I. They worked it out very well, given the situation. But my dad, he remarried 3 times within 6 years. Then my mom remarried again 4 years after that divorce. So at my dad's house, I love my dad to death, don't get me wrong, and I don't hold anything against him. It was kind of like when I was younger, the divorces had no effect on me. So, I'm glad they happened when I was young, but at the same time, I just figured it was it wasn't a big deal. It wasn't, necessarily a really bad thing. And so I've looked back on that, and like I said, I never have any negative feelings towards my dad. He's been remarried now for 15 years, and they're doing very well. My mom and my stepdad, from when she got remarried, are still together, and they all get along just fine. They actually all rode up here together for one of our wedding showers, and people were like, "They rode up here together?" I'm like, yeah, it's normal.
I think
But,
that's where it is that his parents, he comes from a background where his parents have been divorced, and he's seen that. And then for my side, my parents are still together, but I've watched them overcome obstacles, and they've had their hard times. So I've seen both of them stick in something that maybe wasn't always happy all the time, but they knew it was a marriage and they stuck in it. And I think that for both of us, that showed our determination of why we wanted to fight this relationship, because we didn't want to see the divorce affect us. And we also, the other side have seen that sometimes you do have to fight through things that aren't always the greatest every single day.
That's good.
Yeah, and a lot of people will say, well, you can look at what their background is, in their family, and that might show you how they'll turn out. And that can be very true, but at the same time, and I don't know if this was the way they raised me. It just kind of came naturally to me to look at what happened, with, the divorces in the family, and just like, I love my parents a lot. There's a lot of ways I want to be like my dad. But this one was like, I'm going to learn from this. Like, no reason to hold a grudge or let that affect me. I mean, he has moved on. He is a great man of God. And, God has forgiven him and allowed him to be in a new marriage. So, I mean, why should that affect me? It's like, I'm going to take what I've learned from him.
That's good.
In that situation.
Good. Other things that you guys did that you feel like have helped you prepare for marriage?
I think this is where he wants us to talk about his course. No,
I can edit that out.
We sought it out, and we had another. They're married now. They took your Core to 3 Strands pre-marriage course at Crossings. Highly recommended it. I think they told us a large percentage, or not large, but a certain percentage of couples either questioned it or put it off because they weren't ready, and that's a very good thing.
We even heard the course asked so many questions that a lot of people even had to sit back and think, am I in the right relationship? Because it's that good. And that's why we were like, we have to take this, because we knew it was a good challenge. And I mean, for us, it really wasn't out of the question to do a premarital workshop or class or session. So we definitely had to take it.
Yeah, we jumped right on it. And you know how, like, you go to class when you're in high school, whatever, you sit at the back, you don't want to be noticed. We're like, we'll sit at the front. We want to be involved. We were excited about it, and we'd go through the questions that we had each week, and very detailed and specific.
But I loved it.
Yeah, it was fun. There were some that we just blow right through. Then we'd find ourselves spending 30 minutes on one question, and we're like, we're never going to get all these done. But it was good. Like, it really was good for us. I'm trying to think of any specific questions that we went over that really made us like, wow, we haven't thought about that yet. The finance portion was one that I knew that we'd talk about. I mean, we never really was a large concern, but we were kind of like, gosh, how's it going to look? The questions like, well, do you guys, kind of the ones you're going to deal with. Are you going to have separate or joint bank accounts? But then other questions like, how did your family handle this? How did your family eat dinner? Did you sit in the living room with the TV on, or did you not? Because once you have kids and you start doing that, it's not like it's going to make you or break you, but interesting stuff like, wow, you really do see things differently or do things differently.
That's good.